Alright guys, welcome to another video on this channel. It's been a while since I posted a video on this channel, but I had a lot of things going on that I had to attend to, and so my schedules have been busy. So finally I felt like, okay, let me do a video today so that we can have this video on the channel, and probably I will be chanced to drop more videos in the channel more often henceforward. So I was just looking at ETH, and I just had some analyses, and um, it's quite interesting to see what ETH has been doing so far. Now, when we go to the monthly time frame, we can see what ETH has been doing so far over the months. We bought. That was the inception of VTH, and we bought, and we saw price pull back here, and then for a push, and then we saw price come here, tap into the pullback, try attempt to buy, and then it sold down, taking it out, and then the next thing is to expect a retest of it, and this was the candle responsible. Then price tapped into the candle, it was just a little touch, and tried to sell down. Then we see that it was not able to take out this low, and the next thing we see is that price comes, takes out this high, and this we still have the supply here. Remember, still have the supply here. Price came, took out this high, then tapped into this. Okay, because there was a supply around here that price was able to take, and so we have this candle as the one responsible for taking out the supply. And so price was able to move on from there, and then we blew through it. And after we blew through it, we blew through the supply that was here. And after we blew through it, we saw that price was able to only sweep the previous high that was here into supply. And then the next thing we see is that price comes down, sweeps this low, taps into here, hits the demand that was here. It's the demand that was here. Um, broke. So the demand that was there, and then we see price time to go up, and this time around managed to grab liquidity, and then the next thing we did was price came back down to sweep the low. Because why? We failed to bring structure to the upside. Remember your structure. Because you see now this low went ahead and broke structure to the upside. This high was only able to grab liquidity around here. So we came here, and then we started breaking structure to the upside. Now this low failed to break structure to the upside, so we came and took it. And then after taking it, we were able to tap into the demand zone around here again, this time around for demand, so that price could be able to move upward. Now so far this one still remain the target. And then price came up all the way from here, and then swept this high here. After sweeping the high, we saw rejection because sellers were beginning to get into the game once again. And so when they did sell, there was this, and then price came all the way down. So if you are going to have another monthly candle, it's possible that we could have price retest this and then dump it. That's a big possibility. At the same time, it could also, come in there to buy, just to continue the buy. So that is possible. Now I noticed something around here somewhere. After we had all of this happen, this one was carrying demand. There was a candle here that was responsible for breaking the demand that was here. And this was the candle. We retested it, and then price came downward, and then we had this happen, and then this one came in here and took out the supply that was here. Whatever supply was in this area, we swept the eye, and then you see price retest the demand on this candle. This candle, this particular sell candle was the one that retested the demand on this one. And so from there, this one tapped and then went up to continue the business. So one thing I'm looking forward to see is price coming into this zone once again to take a buy. Because now we have the origin of these candles that swept this high coming from here specifically, because this candle was the one that broke the supply that was in this area, took out this high here. That was the one that had tapped into supply to continue. And so price was able to break through, then go all the way like that. And then price came back and tapped into a price is now coming down to tap into demand. So I expect to see price come into this candle, because now the origin of how we were able to take out the supply that was here began from here. And to me, it looks like this candle was not sufficiently triggered, like sufficiently mitigated. This particular one would eventually be the one that price will tap into and continue the buy. So that is just that. And then we sweep, break, and then we have an inducement here. Expect price to come into this. Now, so far, what do we see? Here, we saw that we had a sweep, price sold down, we had a tap into the one. The price was able to destroy some demand that was here. Next thing we should expect a retest, which price did. It retested, almost took out this idle. Retested with this candle, and we should have expected our price to sell down, but there were still some stubborn buyers who wanted to buy. And so they tapped into that, and then they sold down, swept this low. Okay, we didn't sweep the low. And then we had some rejection all the way here, and then eventually this candle broke the demand. So the next thing we had this one, we test this candle, So after it retested, we saw price come all the way down like this. This one also retested this candle, and now we have price coming all the way down. So we need to investigate what happens next from there. There's something happening with TradingView. TradingView doesn't show me on the daily whatever I've drawn on the weekly, and doesn't show me on the weekly whatever I've drawn on the daily. So there's an issue right now that I'm not happy about. So I hope they fix it soon, because I'm trying to message their support so that they can fix it. They need to fix a lot of things actually, because their code always gets messed up every time. So this was the area that we marked. Weekly is as expected too. Swept here, came out the way here, tested, and then we sold, and then price came. We tested this candle, supply here, tested the supply there. And the next thing we see is that price sells down, taking out the slow. And then we have all of this accumulation, and then there was manipulation, and then price comes down and then breaks through whatever demand was here, and then we have the distribution that occurred here. So this place was it. This was the candle, the particular candle that broke structure here. this candle was the one. So very accurate. This candle was the one. And so we see price come all the way down from there. And now the next thing we expect to see is if price is going to come back at all. The next thing we should expect to see is price tap into this and then sell downward into the candle we are expecting, which is this. That out again, which is this. So we should be expecting price to come into this zone. So we should be expecting price to come into this zone so that we can continue the buy. From there, we had a sweep here. There was some resistance and price was able to push through. And so this candle could be holding some demand because we already swept and it was the one responsible for breaking through some supply there before the upward direction. So we should expect price to come into this zone generally. And then we continue the movement to the upside, probably into this. So at least we should expect that price should come into this. So ETH could be buying. There's a possibility of that. ETH could be buying. ETH could be buying. At the same time, we still have some levels that could seem like they could sell price directly. We cannot be too sure. You just have to observe. The price might overcome this and then come into this area and then continue to sell downward. So into the demand. So that's what we see on daily, right? So you see that TradingView has restored the. It's only on 4 hour that you can see it anyway. So we have this candle here, sell all the way down, and this one continues. So this is still a zone to watch. It is still a zone to watch for it mitigated a little bit of it. Then all of the continuation, then price came out the way like that, swept here, came in here. This was the one that mitigated the demand, sorry, the supply, and then it came down, swept this, came in here, kind of mitigated it, then price comes down. And now we see price trying to buy. So let's see what has led up to price buying so far. What do we have here? So we have price sweep here, come all the way down, sweep here, come down and break, taking this low, come here, retest, and then we sell. Then we swept liquidity here, we swept this low, and then price went up. There was a little supply here, but it was not sufficient enough to give us a confirmation that we are fully bullish. And then price came and then swept this low, tapped into this, and then came here and swept this. So we have price come all the way, ranging here, react to this supply, begin to sell, tap and sell, tap and sell, and then came into this zone, and then everything began to change from there. So we went up here, we tapped into this. There was a little supply that was here. Price was reacting from. You see all of this happening. The price was able to break through it. So this was it. This supply. And so when price broke through it, this became a breaker block. So it was now a flip zone price to use. So it became a breaker block. So if you wanted to buy, that could have been a place to buy from. That could have been a place to buy. So price just tapped into it and then began to go up. And by the time price was going to come back for a retest of demand, we had price come into this place this time around. because not only did price break through here, price was also able to break through some supply that was here. You see that? We were able to break through some supply that was here and price swept. And so who was the one who organized it? It was this. So when price came back, it came into either could have been a specific or specific candle on the lower time frame, probably 30 minutes that will have done that. Let's just investigate. Okay. So we had price come all the way down here. We tried to buy, then we swept this low, and then we went high. Then price kinda mitigated a little bit of this and then went up. So this was the candle. You can see that now. This guy was the candle that was responsible for what happened, because it was from it that we began to have this candle here break. So this one this one broke, and then price had to come to demand because it was not fully mitigated. So price mitigated that, and then we went up. Let's go back to 1 hour. Then we went up from there. There was a little supply that was here. The price was reacting to. Okay, there was a little supply here. Price was reacting to. And when it was able to break and sweep this high, we had this zone marked next for price to react from. We now see that there's no more supply for price to react very hugely from, to say that okay, maybe demand will overcome this or not. So we see that it looks like buyers are exhausted already in this place. We see that they begin to reject. They rejected the first time, yeah. Now they come the second time, they were rejected. Now price finds some demand, goes up, and now we see that price comes this time around and reacts from this guy. So what do we expect to see now that price has been able to break the demand that was here? Probably there might still be a little demand that price might react from. Is there a possibility that there's something here that price could react from? I do not know. So we know that a demand was here. The price has broken it already. So the next thing is to expect that price will retest and then sell down. So whatever sell it wants to sell and wherever it wants to sell to, then it can sell down. So that is what I'm expecting on ETH at the moment. So that will be the end of this particular video. Please like, subscribe, and follow them. See you in the next video.